Sis, have you ever run a Black Friday campaign or any marketing that flopped? It's because you can't market what you haven't built. So you ran the ad, you set the budget, picked the perfect creative. You even got your makeup done and filmed it in a high class content studio to record. You then found the perfect audience for your ad and hit publish. And then crickets. Maybe one like, maybe two, but the calendar is still dry. So you start wondering if Meta's, Google's, or TikTok's algorithm has a personal vendetta against you. But here's the thing, it's not the algorithm. It's your lack of infrastructure. You're trying to build visibility on top of a system that isn't ready to hold it. No one cares if you're offering a service that is common or saturated. They want to know if the person behind the service is trustworthy, credible, and reliable. And this is where the ads fall apart. You're trying to force a sale before you've earned the trust. Running ads without a clear authority and branded infrastructure is like giving a speech to an audience of one. You've got the mic and the scripted pitch, but nobody showed up to hear. Why? Sis, you announced the finale without ever introducing yourself or reintroducing yourself if you pivoted. You started the story at the end. You introduced the offer, but never built the irresistible story that makes the offer memorable in their minds. And in the wellness world or service professionals, especially for estheticians, injectors, therapists, or med spa owners, your repeatable results are the brand. If people don't see your result through a branded website or a consistent social media presence, they won't buy into you. You're thinking, why are we even talking about ads when you're a CPA? I get it. Because we can't scale trash. Ever heard of the saying garbage in, garbage out? Well, if we aren't converting quality traffic, we'll never grow the bottom line. And as your CPA, I won't have anything to track. Now, let's connect this to the last two conversations we've had here on the Answer Key. First, we discussed slimming down your offer suite to reduce confusion around the results you are truly capable of achieving for your client. Then we walked through how to price those offers using a CFO level method so that every hour you work pays you and protects your peace without bankrupting your business. So what's the natural next step after that? Most founders think it's ads, but the truth is, if you don't have a proper front end infrastructure, you're just paying to expose your blind spots faster. So what's really happening? Here's what usually happens. You create a premium facial IV series or a wellness program, and because you're proud of it, you want to tell the world fast. Because the faster you tell the world, the faster you'll earn revenue, right? You run the ad, and instead of inquiries, you get crazy. Then you go back and you start tweaking. You change the image, you rewrite the caption, maybe even lower the price. And after all of that, you still feel you're talking to yourself. That silence, it's not rejection, it's confusion. Your audience is whispering, starts from the beginning. The reality is, the faster you run trying to sell a service that hasn't sold on repeat without the ad, the quicker you throw money down the drain. If you haven't converted a client after they've spoken to you once without the ad, odds are you have a messaging problem, and an ad is not going to fix that. Ask the hard questions. So let me ask you this. Does your audience know who you are before they see your ad? Have they ever heard your voice, seen your results, felt your credibility? Can they recognize your tone in a sea of competitors? Have you sold this service independently, repeatedly, before turning to advertising? When they see the ad the first time, is there another one lined up to get them back to your site to move them further down the dating client sequence? Or did you skip the storytelling and go straight to the sale? Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't convert someone who's meeting you for the very first time. You can't expect someone who's never met you to trust you with their skin, their hormones, or their healing plan. You don't build a relationship with the book now button. You build it through story, consistency, and proof. So, do you have infrastructure gaps? See, the ads didn't flop because you targeted the wrong audience. They flopped because there was no trust trail leading to the ad in the first place. There is no branded story that connects your offer to your origin. Like, why did you even begin the business, and why are you so passionate about it? There are no testimonials that show results you've delivered to loyal clients. There was no audience dating sequence that warms up new followers before you ever ask for the sale. Without those inputs, ads become expensive reminders that you skipped steps. See, sis, most service professionals don't have a visibility problem. There's an infrastructure problem. So here's what you need before you spend on ads. Before you run another ad, there are 4 areas to really audit for your brand identity, proof of concept, lead warm-up system, and your follow-up process. Ask yourself these questions before considering ads. Here are questions to consider for your brand identity. Does my visual and verbal branding clearly communicate the type of transformation I sell? Do I have a unique approach for my wellness practice that sets me apart from a saturated sea of other service professionals doing the exact same thing as me? For example, there are thousands of CPAs and accounting firms in the marketplace. However, women choose to work with me as the Legacy CPA at the Money Council because we have a branded and trademark philosophy that originated from our simplification of how we multiply wealth, just like the Rockefellers, for startup enterprises. Now, here are some questions to consider for your proof of concept. Do I have client testimonials, before and after photos, or case studies that demonstrate measurable results? In the wellness industry, results speak louder than social media flyers. For example, at the Money Council, we have 6 case studies located on the homepage of our website showcasing who we serve, the problem, the clear path to the recommended solution, and the financial consequences of implementing our recommendation. Each call to action on this homepage leads them to book a strategic discovery, which is a low-risk tripwire offer to get them to sample my style before committing to a bigger transformational investment. Now, consider this question for your lead warm-up system. Do I have an email list, a blog, or a mini-series that teaches my audience who I am and why I do what I do? Let's be honest, no one books a 1,500 transformation based on a 30 or 60-second ad. They book it after trust has been established. For example, there are 3 ways potential clients enter our funnel. Option 1 is for clients to join our newsletter in exchange for a tax deduction checklist. Secondly, if they are on the answer key reading an introduction to one of the implementation guides, a pop-up appears that invites them to join the newsletter. Thirdly, they may enter the funnel by signing up to book a strategic consultation. But here's the kicker. They reach the Money Council website by having a captivating content distribution channel that features motivating and relatable pieces through social media channels. Social media tells them who I am and why I care about financial sovereignty in the first place. The website describes the ways they can work with me through the Money Council. Here are questions to consider for your follow-up process. What happens after someone clicks and joins your funnel or goes through the checkout process? Are they greeted with a welcome message, educated, or left to figure out your business protocols on their own? For example, depending on how someone enters the funnel at the Money Council, 2 distinct outcomes can occur. When they sign up for the tax deduction checklist, they receive a welcome email series that guides them through how I maximize the benefits of the checklist and how to integrate it into their accounting system. Alternatively, they agree to meet with me for a legacy math strategic evaluation. In that case, they'll receive a kind thank you email, a confirmation of their booking, and a series of reminders leading up to their call. They'll also receive a text message to minimize no-show risks. In either case, we are guiding them with digital hospitality. The reality is how you start a process with a client sets a tone and level of excellence that increases your client experience value. So without this 4-step non-negotiable infrastructure, ads are just expensive reminders that you're skipping your setup phase. So here's the emotional truth and how it really feels. And I know what the season feels like. It's disheartening to put your best creative work out there and watch it fizzle. It makes you question your talent, your timing, even your calling. And it's not that you're unqualified. It's just that your process is unprotected. You're trying to accelerate the marriage phase of the client conversion cycle without the foreplay of dating. Have you ever had someone jump straight to marital conversations in your initial encounter? Awkward. Now, I might be aging myself, but have you ever played a game of Sims? Back then, Sims was a computer-based life simulation that allowed you to build a parallel life. Imagine the game board of life realized in a 3D model called Sims. There were characters you could name and careers that you could choose from. Besides building a career, there were friendships that you needed to conquer to have a happy life. The way you could tell if your sim was happy was by a diamond that hovered above its head. In situations where you began to make friends, and if you ever jumped the gun in a friendship that looked like it was crossing over into a situationship, you or the other sim's bubble would immediately turn orange or red and the sim would spaz out. Now imagine this is what's happening to your client. You jumped the parasocial boundary way too soon. And every time you pay for visibility without the appropriate matchmaking protocol, your client is spazzing out and clicking unfollow quicker than they decided to click the link in your bio. So let's pause to ask, before you pour another dollar into ads, wrap your audit up with these questions. What am I inviting people into? Can my current infrastructure handle an influx of leads without me breaking down or clients falling through the cracks? Have I built the ecosystem around my offer to make it believable, bookable, and repeatable? Scaling chaos doesn't make you successful. It just makes the chaos louder. And worse, it will ruin your business reputation and force a pivot or rebrand later. Here are your immediate next steps. Perhaps this isn't the best season to run ads for your refined offerings with updated pricing just yet. Maybe it's the season to build the process. When you're ready to stop shouting into the void and start building a business that attracts clients before you pay for traffic, subscribe to the Answer Key to unlock implementation guidance. Inside this week's Answer Key, we will break ground and answer questions related to system infrastructure to better predict revenue, track service popularity, and founder productivity. We'll then understand why one system is better than 10 subscriptions for your small business enterprise. Thirdly, we'll talk about the 3 must-know sales KPIs to perfect before you decide to run ads. Click the link inside of the show notes to unlock the full potential of the Answer Key to solve your legacy math. On the other side of wealth is legacy. Walk with me.